This is an introduction to Theatre Redlands. We have a great show coming up in the very near future called Women of Their Word. It's a look at several great Australian women poets. And today we're speaking with Debbie Spearritt, one of our local actors and directors, who'll be playing the part of Judith Wright. Debbie, welcome.
Thank you, Jen.
Judith Wright, it's a big one. A lot of roles that we're given to play are historical characters, characters you'd never meet, or fictional characters. Judith Wright was with us until quite recently. How difficult is it to get into the personality of someone that people will remember as a real person but you'd never met? Does it limit your interpretation of the role?
Yeah, great question, Jan. Look, I'm going to have to be really honest and say I've never actually been much of a reader, so I didn't really know a whole lot about Judith Wright and her poetry.
So you started with a clean slate.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, I was actually really appreciative, Jan, of what you did in terms of scripting such a beautiful blend of biography and poetry, because I knew nothing about her. And you walk away with a feeling that you do, in fact, now know a bit about who she is.
Oh, well, I was standing on the shoulders of a great poet and a very good biographer, I must say.
Oh,
and
that's good.
also her daughter, who was, very supportive and helpful.
Yeah.
Because she was such a great poet, and I really mean great, Judith's poetry makes me quiver down to the marrow sometimes. Are you finding out as much about her from the stuff that she wrote as you would from, say, a biography or other information that you find about her? How much does she reveal through her own writings?
Yeah, look, I think it's quite a bit. I mean, having that biographical history is really helpful. And I think obviously that molds her understanding of the world. But I think she pulls from the depths of how she sees things. And so I think a lot of it really does come from her poetry. A lot of the understanding of who she is comes from what she's written through her poetry. She's a deep thinker. She's quite astounding.
It certainly is. And what do you think from having read her and researched her and channeled her through rehearsals thus far? What do you think were some of her most outstanding characteristics?
Yeah, look, she's so committed to what she believes in. She has such energy and passion around the things that she believes in, and yet she's incredibly humble. She spoke about the awards not really going to her head, but being a useful tool for pushing forward her agenda or her causes. She seems to me like a teacher. In the little bit of video footage I saw of her, I don't know, she's very measured in her words, and she's rational with passion too. She's a teacher. For me, she's a teacher. She's inspiring.
That's a splendid thing to say about anybody, I think. In hindsight, now that you know more of her and you've climbed inside the personality, do you find yourself in agreement with her or at odds with her on some issues? And is it difficult to passionately portray a passionate person with whom you disagree?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jan. I suppose, again, to be honest, I haven't had a lot to do with Aboriginal culture and history, and that's very much part of who she is or the things that she values. And similarly, she's very strongly involved in the conservation movement. Again, I haven't had a lot to do with that. So again, I've learned a lot, and in learning, I've been pushed a bit to think beyond my own worldview, and I think that's good. I don't know that it's enough to push me to action in the same way she was a person of action, but it certainly does push my ways of thinking about things. And it is difficult when you don't live in the same place that other person lives. it's difficult to embrace fully her passion, I guess. However, I think, I mean, my job as an actor and your job clearly as a writer is to honour who she is. So you work to honour and show respect to who she is, whether you agree with her or not. But the thing that was really of interest for me was the opportunity to learn to think differently, and I appreciated that. I can't say I disagree with her. What I can say is I perhaps disagree with the energy that I would put to the causes that she did. But oh yeah, no, it's a fabulous opportunity, even though you may not stand in the same shoes as her, but to just appreciate another way of looking at things. It's great.
There's a learning curve
privilege.
everywhere,
Yeah.
isn't there, in theatre?
Yeah.
If you two had met ever, and you could have, how do you think you would have got on? Do you think it would have been mates, or what?
Look,
Yeah,
I
what do you
think
think the
I would have been.
relationship would have been like?
Yeah, I think it would be student teacher. I think I'd very much be the student and just sit in awe of her. Oh, her capacity to see things bigger than what just the physical realm, that sort of more universal, more spiritual depth of things. I think I'd learn a lot from her. Mm.
Are you enjoying the role?
Yeah, look, it's been a challenge, but yeah, no, I think I've enjoyed. I just really appreciate your writing, Jan. I think you're so skilled, and it's just a real privilege. Mm.
Great
It's
to work
long
with.
though. It's very long.
It is very long. She did a lot of stuff. Could you give us one part of the script or one of her poems or a piece of the role that you particularly like and that you think really encapsulates her?
Mm. That'd be great, yeah.
Please.
Just happen to have a script with me.
Oh, beautifully convenient. Thank you.
This is from Two Dream Times. It was written for her friend, Kath Walker.
Oh, Udjuru Knuckle.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Who's from local in the Redlands.
From local.
Yeah, very much, yes, an outstanding personality.
Two Dream Times. Kathy, my sister with the torn heart, I do not know how to thank you for your Dreamtime stories of of joy and grief written on paperback. You were one of the dark children I wasn't allowed to play with. Riverbank campers, the wrong colour. I couldn't turn you white. So it was late that I met you. Late I began to know that they hadn't told me that the land I loved was taken out of your hands. Sitting all night at my kitchen table with a cry and a song in your voice, your eyes were full of the dying children, the blank-eyed taken women, the sullen looks of men who sold them for rum to forget the selling. The hard, rational, white faces with eyes that forgot the past. With a knife blade flash in your black eyes that always longed to be blacker, your Spanish Curi face of a fighter and a singer. Arms over your breast folding your sorrow in to hold it. You brought me to you some of the way and came the rest of the way to meet me. Over the desert of red sand came from your lost country to where I stand with all my fathers, their guilt and righteousness. Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. That's wonderful. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jan.
That's Debbie Spearritt, local Redlands actor and director. She's playing the part of Judith Wright in Theatre Redlands' upcoming production for Redland Museum of Women of Their Word. I'm Jan Neary. Hope to see you there.